Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today I have a Peplink Transit Duo Pro, and I'm just going to give you a tip in case you run into the problem that I ran into. I don't think any of you are as stupid as I am that you're going to run into this problem. But just in case you are as stupid as I am, I just wanted to run this through so that you don't, like, you realize somebody else out there was worse than you. One of my mentors at Avatar Studios used to say this because he was always open and he was very self-deprecating in a really weird way, and I never understood it because he was a very smart guy. But he said something like, when my mentors seem like they know everything, it makes me feel like I shouldn't even bother. But when there's somebody out there that knows how to do something I don't know how to do, and they seem stupider than me, I get very incentivized. Because it's like, I'm dumb too. So if you're an idiot and can figure this out, then surely I can. And he would do that when he was dealing with newbies, because he wanted new people to feel like they could actually do all the same shit that he could, rather than seeming like some really ingenious person. And I appreciated that about him. He's a really smart guy, really good engineer. Anyway, so this is a Peplink Transit Duo Pro. This is a wireless router. It's a really cool device. It has two modems in it. So it's not just normal failover. It's not like, well, if one of the modems, if your AT&T SIM card fails, it'll switch over to your T-Mobile one. It has this feature, this bonding, Peplink Speed Fusion, whatever the fuck they call it, where it'll send whatever data you're sending over both connections at the same time to a central server. That central server then sends the data that it receives to wherever you're sending it. So let's say you're doing a live stream to YouTube. It's not failover where if one of them fails, it just picks up right back where it left off after switching. No, there's no dropout whatsoever, because when one of your services failed or when one of them got too slow, the other one was still sending. And that's this beautiful bonding feature that it has. And it's also a really small form factor. And it performs a lot better than the garbage that you'll find at the T-Mobile or Verizon store if you want to buy a hotspot, for another reason, which is that if you look at this, you'll see that it has the modem and the processor, but there's no battery in here. This company believes in the battery being external. And as long as the battery is external, that means that you're not going to have the heat back and forth that you would usually have, because this thing gets pretty warm by itself. If this gets warm, it's going to make the battery warm. When the battery gets warm, it's going to, lithium-ion batteries are going to perform worse, which means it puts out less power, which means this performs worse. Or if the battery starts getting warm, it's going to make this even warmer than it already was, which is going to make it perform worse. It's just it's a horrible, never-ending cycle. And once the battery hits a certain temperature, the machine has to throttle itself down so the battery doesn't explode. It's all very bad. So by separating this, you get a Wi-Fi hotspot that's not a complete piece of shit, which is awesome. You can plug it in via LAN, or so you could use it like a normal router. You can also do this other really cool stuff with it. So let's say that I have my two connections, but let's say that just in case one of those goes bad, I want to have a third link going. You can connect to a random Wi-Fi in the area. So if you're by Starbucks and you want to do some sort of thing with your internet connection, and you don't know if your Verizon or your T-Mobile or your AT&T is going to work, you can connect to T-Mobile, AT&T, and the Starbucks. It's awesome. So this also has a number of different ways of being powered, which is really useful in the field. And it's one of the reasons that I decided to invest like about $900 or $1,100 into this particular product. So you'll see on the back of it, it has a USB-C port, it has another USB-C port, and it has a standard old style 4-pin power connector. So there's a number of different ways that you can use this. You can plug a USB-C power bank in, like this one. Any sort of power delivery bank should work, but even ones that can't support the full power, like this thing over here only goes up to 12 volts, but it's still able to do a decent job. You just plug the power bank in, and then I can plug it into the unit. This is so cringe trying to hold the phone while doing this. Here we go. Power bank says let's power up together. I'm just going to wait for that thing to turn on. All right, this is channel 2 out. Now watch what happens when I unplug this battery, which is plugged in using a USB-C to this 4-pin connector. I'm going to unplug this, and my status light up there is still green for the unit and for modem 1, which has an AT&T SIM card in it, because it's just seamless switchover. The same seamless switchover also works over USB. So if I wanted to just take a normal USB cable and use that to plug this into there, I can do that as well. Here, I'll plug this power supply in via USB-C. Make sure that it's on. It's on. Give it a second. Just no funny business. Unplug the U-green, and it's still on. And the next, you can also power this using its 4-pin thingamajig over here, using a standard wall wart power supply like this. And they also include a cable. They include a cable that allows you to attach it to your own thing. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I just bought this power bank a few days ago, and I've had this power bank for a while. It's much smaller. But I had this power bank that I bought. I have two of these back from 2016. So when I started doing the traveling around for the legislative hearings. I had a ThinkPad P50 laptop. Hey, get out of here. Bad mosquito. Hey, bad mosquito. Eat shit. Eat, enjoy some Mr. Clean. Veganism ends when you suck my blood, asshole. Anyway, this is a Max Oak battery. This thing is just a monster. So it says over here, it says 20 volts, output 3 amps. That is not true. I have used this, and there's a video on the channel from like 2017 of me powering a ThinkPad P50 with a Quadro GPU and a quad-core, pretty high-end at the time, laptop CPU. And it was working like 90% or so off of this, and the battery was not going down on the laptop at all. This is way more than just being able to output 60 watts. It's pretty cool. So you have a 20 volt tap, you have a 12 volt tap, and then you have 2 higher powered USB ports. Yes, for 2016, this was high, 2 amps was higher power. And then you have the lower ones, which are the 1 amp, which are virtually useless. That's like for Bluetooth headphones. So I had 2 of these that I could use for powering my ThinkPad, and I could also use this for charging elements in my camcorder, recharging my wireless batteries, stuff like that, in case if I was sitting in a 3 or 4 hour long legislative hearing, I wouldn't have to worry about losing power, and if I wasn't allowed to plug in. So they give you a cable like this that you could terminate however you want. It's the same 4-pin power connector that you see on the end of their dual USB-C. So there's a dual USB-C to that weird power connector, and it's the same power connector you see on the end of their plug of this thing. See? Yeah. Same thing. Now, there's one very important difference in this thing, though, and I'm going to show you it. Let me just unplug the existing 4-pin one from the unit, and I'm going to plug in my 20-volt battery. Because this drove me nuts for 2 hours. Because I'm a moron who forgot how to be a repairman. Okay, so I plugged that in. I have a battery turned on. Now, watch this. I'm going to unplug my USB-C. There we go. Bye-bye USB-C. Bye-bye second USB-C. Now it's still on. My status LEDs are still green. See? Green. And my Ethernet port is working, right? Watch what happens when I tap this. It's very predictable. Meh. You can even hear it clicking. Hear that? The light turned red. If I want to turn the light off, I move it up a little. Move it up a little. Move it up a little. And it's a problem with the jack, right? Must be the jack on the motherboard that's broken, Lewis. Isn't that an easy one? Well, no, I don't think so. Watch this. Here you go. I take my cable. Put my cable in here. This is for the DC plug. I could pick the unit up by this thing. No problem at all. So then I decide, let me take a look at what this looks like. Now tell me if you notice a difference in these two cables that came with the unit. Watch this. Let's get this in view. If I don't, you'll tell how much I hate you guys by whether or not I edit this. I probably won't, but okay. I have no patience for editing anymore. Okay, let's see if I can get this at good quality on the cell phone. Now on the right is the one that works. That is the one that's attached to the DC power supply. On the left is the cable that they give you that you could attach to whatever you want, and that's the cable that I attached to my battery. What do you notice about the cable on the right? And then, what do you notice about the cable on the left? Look at the metal connections inside of each. I wasted 2 hours of my fucking life before looking at this to see what those connections look like. When I was still a repairman as part of my everyday job, I would have looked at this in the first 8 seconds. But no, I spent 2 hours on this. Look at those teeth. Look at these. And when I say teeth, I mean the little, see how there is the square with the edges on it, that the black plastic, and then inside you have the shiny metal circle square thingamajiggy. On the right, it's not perfect. The bottom ones are the ones that matter. And over here, like, what is that shit? Who chewed on you? What? So if you've bought a Peplink Transit Duo Pro and you're wondering, why is it that every cable that I try to make with the unit does not work? You're not crazy? Just take a look at the pins, and if you look at the pins and they look like mine, there you go. And hopefully you found this video before wasting 2 to 3 hours of your life, because that I'm gonna tell Paul S, who is the one who told me, like, you really, when you do live streams, you really can't have them like dropping every 5 seconds anymore. You should get a better solution. You know, shout out to Paul SR. He's awesome. He's a regular of the channel for almost 10 years now. Great dude. Talk to him on a regular basis when I can. He encouraged me to get a better setup. He recommended this box, and I do love this box. But when I tell him this is what was causing my issues, he's gonna fucking laugh at me and go, and I subscribed to your channel. I thought you were a repairman. I thought I was a repairman too. Look, I took the unit apart. Look, the case is off. I took the entire fucking unit apart like a dumbass before looking at this to see that the shit is... What the fuck is this? Like, bruh. Teeth look like an eating... Fucking... I don't even know. What do you have to eat for your teeth to look like this? Anyway, I'm gonna test this a little bit because I think this is a really cool product, because I think this is the type of product that you could fit on top of a streaming camcorder, like a Sony NX800 or something like that. You could probably mount this, if you get the proper gear, to the top of the camcorder, and then you have a setup that, if you get the right battery, can be powered directly off of it. So there are batteries made by this one company that for Sony cameras. It's on the tip of my tongue. I forgot the name of it. Has a Core. It's the Core SWX Nano. So they make a battery that is really cool because it has a USB-C port right on the battery. So this battery you can charge via USB-C, but you can also use the USB-C port to charge something else, which is awesome. And it also has this. So if you didn't want to waste the USB-C port, you could also do something like get that little connector over there, and then connect that connector directly to this unit using the cable that it came with, this thing. And then your camcorder can essentially now can do direct live streams to anywhere with a bonded technology that is never going to drop reliably. It's this, though. This. I gotta be up 7 a.m. see my personal trainer tomorrow at the gym. Look at the time. Look at the time. When he asked me why I'm yawning, I had to get to the bottom of the Peplink router. I have no impulse control. Like, this could have waited till tomorrow. I have absolutely no reason. None. But it's like, it's the sunken cost fallacy. I wanted to figure it out. It bothered me that I couldn't figure it out. And now I finally figured it out. So I'm a dumbass. Anyway, I'll leave that to that. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I think it's a pretty cool product, and I would like to go over it in future videos for anybody else who's interested in doing mobile live streams that suck less, or just for anything, really. I live in the middle of nowhere. Spectrum sucks ass a lot of the time, and I would like to be able to have something like this so that I can have internet at home when Spectrum fucks me, which they do almost every day. See you in the next one. Bye now.